At just under 2,000 years old, the oldest bottle of olive oil was discovered under the volcanic ash of Herculaneum. The discovery was extremely important to science since it shed some light on the molecular evolution of olive oil over time. The earliest known manufactured mirrors were found in Turkey and are approximately 8,000 years old. They were made of obsidian and had impressively good optical quality according to researchers. Built around 1300 BC, the Archidiko Bridge in Greece is the oldest arch bridge that's still in use today. It was used as a chariot bridge some 3,300 years ago. The world's oldest purse was found in a grave in Germany and was made sometime around 2500 BC. The fabric it was made of has disintegrated over the years, but it was studded with over 100 ancient dog teeth which remain intact. The Vimos coat is a 22-pound piece of iron chain armor made by hand from roughly 20,000 tiny rings. Known as the oldest completely preserved chainmail in the world, it was likely thrown into a Danish peat bog as a victory offering after battle some 1,800 years ago. In 1890, some Russian gold miners discovered a 9-foot-tall totem pole in a peat bog. Dating back 12,000 years, it's the oldest known wooden sculpture in the world. The world's oldest pair of pants is a 3,300-year-old pair of wool trousers discovered in a Chinese cemetery. In the small village of Nashtafan, Iran, some of the oldest windmills in the world still spin. Made from natural clay, straw, and wood, the windmills have been milling grain for over 1,000 years. The world's oldest spear tip was discovered in England in 1911. It was likely made by Neanderthals around 400,000 years ago. Built around the 13th century, La Maison des Jeans is the oldest known house in France. Back then, houses were taxed based on the size of the ground floor, so they were often built with a smaller foundation than the rest of the house. The world's oldest light bulb that still works has been burning since 1901 and can be found at a California firehouse. Its longevity has baffled scientists for decades since it's been left on for 24 hours a day for almost 122 years straight. Dating back to the early 1700s, the Old Gentleman of Rahe is the oldest diving suit in the world. It was once used to inspect the bottoms of sailing vessels. This is one of the 4,000-year-old preserved wagons found near Lake Savan in Armenia. Made completely out of oak wood, they're the oldest known wagons on the planet. The oldest working battery has been powering a bell at Oxford University since 1840. Nobody knows what the battery is made of and doesn't want to risk destroying it to find out. Discovered in 1963, Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey is the oldest known temple in the world. The site was purposely buried around 9000 BC for unknown reasons. However, this allowed the structures to be preserved for future discovery and research. As of now, ground-penetrating radar has revealed that less than 5% of the site has been excavated. Harriet the Galapagos tortoise was collected by Charles Darwin in 1835 while he was discovering evolution. She died at the age of 175 as a beloved member of Steve Irwin's Australia Zoo. Lydia Fairchild gave birth to 2 kids whose DNA didn't match her own. Prosecutors pressed to take the kids away and forced her third birth to be closely monitored. When the third child again didn't match up with her DNA, she was charged with benefits fraud until it was discovered that she actually carried 2 completely different sets of DNA. This means the 3 kids technically belonged to her unborn twin sister. In the late 1800s, a baboon was employed as a signalman by a South African railroad. He was paid 20 cents per day and a half bottle of beer per week. During his 9-year career, he never once made a mistake. A boy born with just 2% of his brain completely defied doctors' predictions after it grew back to 80% the average size. Doctors had told the parents to terminate the pregnancy not once, not twice, but 5 times. He celebrated his 10th birthday earlier this year. In 2012, French beekeepers couldn't solve the mystery of the blue and green colored honey in their beehives. After months of investigating, it was discovered that the bees were visiting a local factory that produces M&Ms. The Bajau people of Southeast Asia are often considered sea nomads. They have no homes, money, or nationalities, and they spend 60% of their life underwater. They can go spearfishing at depths greater than 200 feet without any scuba gear and have even developed much larger spleens than the average human to help them survive underwater. In 2001, a lion, tiger, and bear cub were all rescued from a drug dealer's basement in Atlanta. Usually as animals get older, they grow apart and become aggressive towards other species. But these 3 remained close and even lived in the same habitat for over 15 years. There's a tribe in India that's learned how to train the roots of fig trees to grow natural suspension bridges. These bridges can span over 100 feet and last up to 600 years. In 1932, Dr. Eric Salomon faked a broken arm so that he could sneak a camera in his cast to photograph the Supreme Court. It's one of only 2 existing photos of the U.S. Supreme Court in session. In the 1930s, a flute player had a pet lyrebird that mimicked his music. Eventually, he released the bird into the wild, but fragments of his music were passed down by generations of lyrebirds. Some of his music is even still present in their songs today. Discovered in 2003, the Virgin Rainbow Opal is one of the most beautiful and expensive rocks in the world. It literally glows in the dark and is worth well over $1 million. This is what an iceberg looks like when it's flipped over. The world's rarest marine mammal is a small porpoise known as the vaquita, and it's on the brink of extinction. Discovered in 1958, there may only be around 10 of them left in existence. This baby crocodile was born with an unusual mutation that gave it the tail of a mermaid. The extremely rare Wandiwoi tree kangaroo was rediscovered in New Guinea after vanishing for 90 years. Before this photo, the last time it was recorded by scientists was in 1928. This is an insanely rare view of people standing on the balcony of the Statue of Liberty. It's been closed to the public since 1916 due to terrorist threat. Don Rickles, the voice of Mr. Potato Head, died before he could record any dialogue for Toy Story 4. But instead of replacing him, Disney reviewed 25 years of content from movies, video games, and other media. They were able to reassemble enough dialogue to cover the entire film. A grandpa was about to pass away, so he made the perfect parting gift for his grandkids. In the 1980s, a little girl named Beth was suffering from 100 seizures per day and was about to have half her brain removed in a major surgery. That's when her mother called to PBS asking for a note from Mr. Rogers just to assure the little girl that she'd be okay. When Mr. Rogers heard about this, he flew to visit her in the hospital and even brought his puppets to cheer her up. Beth survived the surgery and stayed close with Mr. Rogers until his death. In 1981, a Vietnam War veteran was threatening to jump off a building when boxing legend Muhammad Ali sprinted up the stairs. He told the man, "I am your brother, I love you," and the man immediately came inside and started crying. Ali then proceeded to drive the man to the hospital in his Rolls Royce. A group of sperm whales adopted a bottlenose dolphin with a spinal deformity after it was rejected by its own dolphin group. The Falkland Island minefields became an accidental nature preserve for penguins who don't weigh enough to set them off. In 2005, Mr. T vowed to never wear a gold chain again after seeing all the people who lost everything to Hurricane Katrina. Bill Hast injected himself with snake venom for 60 years to build up his immunities. He survived nearly 200 venomous snake bites, donated blood to snakebite victims, and lived to the age of 100. In 2015, Charlie Sheen publicly announced that he had been HIV positive for years. His disclosure led to a 95% increase in the use of HIV testing kits, likely saving thousands of lives. Ecuadorian police had to rescue a terrified sloth from the middle of the highway, and the rescue pictures were so adorable that they immediately went viral. A 34-year-old man with ALS completely lost his ability to move anything, including his eyes. When a brain chip finally allowed him to communicate again, the first thing he said was, "I need a beer." In 1975, a man died from laughter while watching his favorite TV show, The Goodies. His widow later sent the program a letter thanking them for making her husband's final moments so pleasant. Danny DeVito not only starred in the movie Matilda, but also directed it. He even took care of the actress who played Matilda while her mother was in the hospital with cancer. He managed to get an advanced copy of the film for her mother to watch before she succumbed to her illness. Father of judo Kano Jigoro requested to be buried in his white belt to be remembered as a learner instead of the black belt master he was. Anthropologist Grover Krantz agreed to donate his body to science on the condition that he was kept close to his dog. The Smithsonian Museum honored his wish. 6 Georgia inmates who were out on work detail saved a deputy sheriff who collapsed from a stroke. They could have taken his gun and fled with the work van, but instead used his phone to call 911. The sheriff's office gave the inmates a pizza party to say thanks. Mr. Rogers personally responded to every fan letter he ever received. A 5-year-old blind girl once asked if he could say when he's feeding the fish because she was worried about them starving. From that point on, every time he fed the fish, he said it out loud. After losing both arms in a bus accident, a young woman from India received a pair of hairy donor limbs from a dark-skinned male. But to everyone's surprise, the donor hens eventually changed skin tone and became more slender and feminine to better match her body. Brian Jackson's father purposely injected him with HIV-infected blood when he was just 11 months old. He developed AIDS by the time he turned 5, and doctors only gave him months to live. But Brian persevered through years of suffering, and by the time he turned 25, his HIV status was undetectable.